Hello! We are live. Disgraceful. I'm sure we will. And as always, anybody watching, if you get any issues with the stream, do let us know. It usually starts a bit right at the start as it seems to get into its groove. And hopefully, in a few weeks' time, we'll have a new shiny machine all ready to burn through all of this at high def. We are judderingly live. Ah, they say they can't hear you, Robin. Let me see if I can sort that out. It's odd. I can hear Robin. I can hear Robin. Can anybody else hear Robin? Robin is miming. Oh dear, Robin. Oh dear, Robin. What's going on? This is Robin's fault, you see, because he's not got his normal microphone today. You have got the normal microphone. Have you set up in Skype? Have you? Only paid for the vowels. Yeah. Robin's going to check his Skype, and I'm just going to sit here and sigh at him disappointedly. Robin. Sounds very juddery. No Robin audio. Yeah. Hopefully the sound will start to play ball in a second. I'm assuming everybody can hear me. Can everybody hear that now? Any luck? Let me see. Yeah, I think he did, Andrew. I think he said think about buying everybody a copy. Yeah. Everybody online. Everyone can hear me because I'm awesome. But no one can hear Robin because he sucks. Robin says he can hear me. Sorry guys, I'm not sure why the audio's not working. I'm just trying to sort that out now, seeing if there's something wrong with my setup at all. No, hold on, I'm just going to try something. I'm going to try and add Robin again, and we'll see what happens. There's a giant version of Robin for you a moment. Let me just remove one, shift the other in. How about now, Robin? What happens if you talk?
Hello,
now?
Can you hear me?
Can
Hello,
anybody hear Robin now? Yep, there was a
anybody
giant
hear
Robin
me?
for a moment.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me, mother?
Can you hear me? Okay, much better. He's screen ready for action one too many times. That's right.
Much better, excellent.
Hey, hello,
I did
everybody.
literally nothing
So
except
it was
remove the
Pete's
input and
fault.
add the input again.
So he was raining at me, and it was Pete's fault all the time.
I'm still blaming Robin.
The watchword for the channel.
Right, and 1, 2, 3, let's go. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Sorry about that. Forgive Pete and his incompetence.
Listen, without me, right? There'd be none of these
Pete, none of this would have happened. None of this would have happened without Pete. Pete is the driving force. He's the reason I get up in the morning.
I'm not sure why sometimes Robin's video feed goes massive. I think it's because his Skype quality gets better and then worse, then better and worse, and as it gets worse, it shrinks his bandwidth down, and then as it gets better, it expands the video size. So
small. Then I'm big and then I'm small.
We'll try and work that out.
It's better for life, really.
Yeah. So anyway, hello everyone. We're here to talk about beastgrave. As always, I hope everybody's having a good evening with their doing their hobbyingness and everything else. And hello to everybody who's already online. Nearly 20 of you crazy beautiful people already.
Shrink Robin, I
did. So we're going to crash on. Let's crash on with the questions. We've got lots of questions. We've got lots of things to talk about, and we do enjoy talking about stuff. So we're just going to talk, as we always do. So our first question was from one of our Patreoners, who is Malachi. Hopefully, Malachi. I'm going to go with that one. Do tell me if I'm terribly wrong with pronouncing names. And yes, Jason, morning to all those in the morning world, and good evening to all the people in the evening world, and good night to everyone who should be asleep. What are you doing awake, you crazy people?
Congratulations to Pank on the cool new intro animation.
Yeah, who likes the intro? It's pretty cool, right?
New intro.
It is pretty cool, that intro. I'm going to try and do some new merchandise with a flamey, glowy logo as well. So Anyway, right, here we go. So, the first question from Maliki, which was about the painting discussion and how we go about our painting in general, I believe, was the gist of it. So, Robin, would you like to start on that one?
No, I'd like you to
start that
start.
one anyway.
Okay. Sorry, what was the question? Painting. How do we do it?
What's going on? What year is
I
this?
thought you were going to start talking. I thought you were going to start talking about it.
I've got to read the questions
painting.
out.
I have a
You've got to
love-hate
answer the
relationship with
questions.
painting. I have a love-hate relationship with painting.
I love hating it.
Yeah. So I think I enjoy it, and sometimes I do really really enjoy it. But there are other times that I just paint my miniatures and I'm just thinking, why am I doing this? Why am I doing it?
Why
And
am
then
I
normally
putting
I then
myself through
add a
this?
wash, and then it's all right. But actually, I had a bit of a breakthrough thanks to Midwinter Minis. I know some of you guys put me onto Midwinter Minis and the Blackstone Fortress painting stuff, because those videos are really good for teaching you how to paint quickly and looking okay. And it's kind of, and also actually, Battle Cam made a big difference too, because I realised that obviously we painted miniatures look much better on camera, but brilliantly painted miniatures on the video camera don't, even in 4K, don't look that much better than reasonably painted miniatures. You can't see the imperfections, and as long as it's got some paint on it and a bit of shading, then it looks all right.
Yeah.
I think. You guys can tell us whether you think that or not.
Everyone's thinking, no, they look terrible, look rubbish.
But I think to just getting some paint on them is better than others, and so then painting up the ones for Blackstone Fortress was quite a simple load of techniques, and it was quite quick. And actually, I thought the games looked pretty good. So I'm kind of almost scaling back, having gone and done about 1 billion layers on each area I was painting. I've now scaled back to almost back to the old-fashioned paint, wash, dry brush, done. It's not quite that simple, but that's almost there. And of course, there's now contrast paints, which Pete, you I think like them more than I do. Yeah. So go on, you talk about contrast paints.
Yes.
And I'll chip back in.
Okay. Yeah. The thing I love about contrast paints is I always hate when painting wasting time, because I don't have a lot of time anyway. So for painting, for me, I want to get something out of it at the end. And generally, I'm not the world's fastest or best painter, so I want to try and get something that looks good without having to rely on too much effort. Basically, I'm lazy, and I love the fact that with contrast paint, you can just literally paint a layer over an area, and it picks out detail instantly. Just absolutely love. You've got a model that's got some good layering, good texturing on it. You can just paint one layer on that, and it's done almost. It's definitely tabletop standard, and it pretty much fulfills our requirements for getting things done to a standard that look okay on camera. I mean, again, everyone at home can tell us if our quality on camera is any good or not. But for me, I just love the fact that I tend to be like a colouring in painter. It's like, the hair is brown and the face is fleshy colour and the sword is silver, and I can just do that with contrast paints, and for the most part, and they look pretty good, at least by my quality standard.
Well, yeah, I think they do look good. I think obviously with contrast you've got a definite, it depends what you're painting, how good they look, but your ghouls that you painted recently look really good.
They look okay. Yeah, they're not bad. I mean, I've seen some of the ones that people have been posting on Facebook, and they are fantastic, really good.
Yeah,
and some of them are with contrast as well. And I think you can really get a lot out of contrast if you can be bothered to really water them down and do multiple shades and all that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, I have tried that, but I've found occasionally I'm not happy with the finish. They've got a slightly glossy finish to them, which I don't like. And then if you're using a mixture of contrast and ordinary paint, you end up with a kind of variable finish.
Yeah.
On them, and I'm not completely happy with that. I know on my Griffhounds that I did, I don't like them at all.
I think the problem with your Griffhounds, though, was the models weren't particularly textured.
No, they're quite smooth, aren't they? Yeah.
And I think you've got to be much more subtle, and I think you could probably get there with contrast, but you'd have to really water it down to like.
Yeah, I mean, I do normally do 50-50 and then do 2 layers. I do normally do that.
I think contrast, you probably want to go down even further with contrasts a lot of the time. When you want to do that gradual build up. Yeah,
you're probably right. And I haven't got time for that.
Ed says he knows our quality levels are low because we haven't sent any of his back yet.
Your paint is great, Ed.
And the thing I like
about yours are out.
Yours is that they're really crisp, nice, neat.
Yeah.
Mine are quite sloppy if you start to look at them in detail, whereas yours are always nice and you colour within the lines, which I like that.
Yeah, I quite often get out of the lines, and that bugs me with contrast paints because it can be quite hard to, if you go outside of the lines, it can be quite hard to redress your errors depending on what colour you've got out of the lines with.
I think that you've definitely got to get into that habit of using paler, lighter colours first.
Yeah.
And then you can be a little bit messier because then you can go back over them with a darker colour later on. I know that on some of the bases from the ghouls, the Grimwatch, I've done them quite just a standard sort of grey. I think it's the Administratum grey or whatever it is. But I've just painted that neat over the top, and because I'd done the flesh tones first, there's a bit of the purpley colour on the base, but a couple of the greys over top of it, you don't really notice it.
It was alright.
Yeah.
I have enjoyed playing Scaeath's Wild Hunt, but I haven't quite finished them yet, and I've kind of got to the point where I just thought I was going to do like layering and shading and extra washes and whatever. And I thought, actually, I can't be asked. They're going to look good enough on the table, so I'm just going to finish them and call them done. So I do enjoy painting, but it's finding time. And curiously, I don't know if anybody else is like this, I much prefer to paint in natural light, which means from the months of October to April, I get far less painting done. And for those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, that might be the other way around. But so I don't like painting under light.
I don't mind the light. See, I don't mind using lights, and again, this is where we differ quite a lot, I think, on the paint side. I don't mind using a light as long as it's got a fairly bright bulb in it. I'm okay with that. I don't mind too much.
Yeah. I particularly hate shading. But I particularly hate shading, so I might do a bit of base colour, because then it's all kind of the same. You just got to get in the lines, so the lamp light's fine by that. And I might even put a wash on, because again, you've only really got to get it in the right place, and then when I'm then shading or not shading, highlighting, then I have to have natural light to do it.
That can be trickier, definitely. And I think a lot of the old favourites like washes are just skill in a bottle, and contrast paints are very similar to that. Just a standard base coat, a wash, and then maybe a very light dry brush on the edges to pick out things. If you don't want to do really detailed highlighting, can be enough really to make most models look tabletop ready.
Yeah, Ed says he's got a daylight bulb. I've actually got two lamps with daylight bulbs in them, but I find they throw shadows in an odd way, because I normally paint in the conservatory, so it's normally very light in the daytime, and if I paint in the morning, the sun's behind me and it's perfect. But with the daylight bulbs, they're in front of me, and it throws shadows towards me, or from the miniature, and I think it just changes the way things look, and I just don't like it, I think. And I've tried fiddling it around, but I've got limited room. I posted that picture of my cluttered workspace a few weeks ago on Patreon at least. And so I'm not the tidiest, so there's nowhere else for the lamps to go, so I can't really easily move them around and fix them to get the best position. But so far I've been able to keep paint in daylight okay, but of course the clocks go back next week or the week after, so then I'm stuffed.
Yeah. No more painting till April. Jason did post a comment which I think I agree with a lot, which is he said his biggest lesson was he had to learn that he didn't have to paint like professionals or to professional standards, and I think there's a wider lesson to be learnt there, which is be happy with what you're doing, whether that's learning new skills or just treading water at a level that you're happy with, painting things in basic contrast levels, which like I do. I'm quite happy doing the same kind of thing every time. I enjoy the result at the end of it. I have a warband that's painted. It's not going to win Golden Demon, but at the same time, I think when I was like 12 years old and playing the game, I never painted any models because I could never paint like the White Dwarf standard, so I never bothered. And now I'm actually achieving that. I've painted 3 Warcry warbands. I've painted multiples of the Underworlds warbands, and I'm just happy with the level they're at.
Yeah, and your painting level is actually very good. For how you say, I don't spend much time doing them. I think you're a better natural painter than I am. I think I just spend a little bit longer doing it.
I'd say we're very different in our style. I like very basic, just neat and tidy, one over. Yours, you put a lot more effort into the weathering of things and putting multiple layers on. When you weathered your Orc Iron Skulls, I just remember thinking I would never do that, because once I painted the armour and you'd painted them really nicely, to then go over that with something else, I was like, no, I'm not touching them. If I ever paint orcs,
I do like to learn a new technique.
Yes.
And try it. So I think I use chipping paint for that, and I'm desperate to try and do something monochrome, and I sort of like to have a go at non-metallic metal, but I don't think I ever will, because I don't think I've got the time or the patience or the skill. But I do like to try different things. I'd like to get some of those fluorescent paints. I can't remember who does them. I think it might be No, I can't remember who it is who does them, but that'd be really fun to try as well.
Do some fluorescence on there. Maybe we just need to make sure
Yeah.
that all our painting is done from about sort of 30 degrees, like where the camera's going to be. You only have to paint one side of them.
I like it. Well, do you find, guys? I'll ask Pete this and everybody else out there. Do you find you spend ages on the front of the model and then turn it round and go, "Oh crap! I've completely forgotten to paint that bit."
I don't do that so much, but what I do is spend ages trying to paint that bit just underneath, right in the crotch area, and then afterwards I sort of turn it back over and realise you're never going to see that. Why am I wasting my time painting this bit that you're never going to see? I'm so busy trying to highlight this Oryx knob underneath the armour, and then you realise no one's ever going to see that.
You might have different models to me. I'm not sure I've got that one, but I find more seriously, I do find that I'd be like, I'm going to paint all the cloak or whatever, or let's go and paint all the uniforms of all the men. So I'm going to paint them all the same colour and go around painting it, and then each one will have a different bit missed. Where like I missed an arm,
sleeve over
it's
here,
like I was doing the
tunic down there.
Exactly, doing the wild hunt, and I completely forgot to paint one of them. I can't remember which one it was. Hands. just looks like, well, I haven't painted his hands. So I've got to go back and paint his hands now. And I do that sort of thing all the time.
One thing I have found really helped me out is batch painting with contrasts. So I did the flesh tone on all of the Grimwatch and the Grimwatch. I did like the flesh tone on all of them in one go. Then I went back and did the bone on all of them in one go, and then I went back and did the metal on all of them in one go. And it was just
I
so
normally
much
paint
nicer.
That. I normally paint that, but I also normally only ever play the 3 and 4 model warband, so it's not quite the same.
True. So let's crash on with some more Beastgrave questions and stuff. And just before we crash into all the questions asked by the one and only, there is one quick question in there from Malwinius Serrano Olfram from York. And he says...
Is that your given name?
Well, that's the name on there. I'm assuming that's on the birth certificate. It says, so is Beastgrave worth it? Does it bring something new?
Yes.
It does. New models, new warbands,
there you go.
New mechanics, toiter rules. The rules are a bit toiter. A few changes to some of the rules. I think overall it's worth getting.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I would say that I think perhaps the biggest improvement has been the rotating out of the Shadespire card, which is nothing really to do with Beastgrave.
Yeah.
But that said,
also not something you need to actually follow unless you're playing in the tournament.
Yeah, and marrying up the but I would recommend it. Having now played it, I think it's a better game without them.
I agree.
I think Shadespire was kind of almost like the Games Workshop's. Well, it was literally their first attempt at this, and there were some cards that were overpowered, some cards that didn't work, some cards that were just played so much that we're bored of. Which maybe if we just pick it up, you're not bored of them yet. But I also think, having said that the combination of rotation with the more objective focused cards from Beastgrave has made the game a lot better.
Yes, I agree.
So Malwinius, I would say Beastgrave is a definite step up.
And for anybody who entered our competition, we did draw a winner, and the winner was VJ. He is online now. VJ Wolf, he was our winner. So congratulations to you, VJ. We will be organising to send you over all of what you've won, which was the nameplates for the 2 warbands, the limited edition cards, and the box game, obviously. And congratulations. Thank you to everybody who did enter. We'll hopefully be doing another giveaway in a few more weeks when the next warband comes out with the Grimwatch nameplates and the next warband nameplates. And maybe another copy of the game. Maybe we'll see. Well. So
depends how generous we're feeling.
Yes, so well done. Congratulations, VJ. Thank you to everybody for entering, and do keep an eye out for the next giveaway that we do.
Malwinius is off to buy it.
Good.
Brilliant. Yeah, I would definitely recommend it if you like the game. I would definitely recommend it.
Check out the links in our description. There's a link in there if you want to order it online to the Outpost. We get a little bit of a kickback from them. It's a little bit of a affiliation
to plough into the next warband.
VJ says the first thing he's won since a meat raffle. You know what? I don't know many people who've ever won this, and every time we do one of these competitions, and we do one every 4 to 6 months, I think. And we contact the people and go, hey, you won. Everybody sort of says, I've never won anything in my life. Like, who wins these competitions then? There's all these competitions all the time. I don't know anyone who's won them. No,
I did actually win a meat raffle once, though, so I am with VJ on that.
Yeah. I don't think I've even won, not even won some old meat. But never mind. So let's crash on with the other questions for Beastgrave then. So the first one in here, which I think someone has just mentioned in that list, which is with the new ruling of 6 Surge cards and 6 end of round cards, do you
Yeah,
find
the
that it's
person was
harder?
Andrew who mentioned
It
it.
was, yeah.
So I just
Yep.
yeah, he's mentioned it twice.
Yeah, we get the point, Andrew. We're getting there. We're getting there. Give us a minute. We have to build up to these things. He says, "Do you find it harder or easier to make deck lists? What's the 6 end of round cards bit? Or do you
Well,
just
if you've
mean
got
if you use all 6 surge cards, you then have
you've got
6 left to use for
six
end of
and
round?
yeah.
So, do you find it easier? Personally, I'm finding it quite tricky at the moment. Maybe with the Grimwatch card, because I've not built a deck since the Grimwatch cards came out, or the Grimwatch Warband came out with the new Universal cards. I've not had to try and build a deck with it yet. But I was finding it a lot harder because so many of the cards that you really want are all Surge cards or Surge cards.
I
So,
actually find it easier.
mm,
So there we are. I find it easier, just controversially.
I think the problem I have is I immediately grab. I go through once and I go through the list and I grab out a load of cards that I think I want to play, and then I realise I've already got like 7 or 8 surges. So then I have to go back and try and get rid of some. So I do that, and then I think, right, now I've got to fill in the other 6 spots. And I keep going back through, and every card I stop and go, oh, I might get that one. I realise that's another Surge card. It's like, oh, maybe that. Oh, no, that's a Surge card. Oh, maybe. Oh, no, that's another Surge card. So I am struggling at the moment, but I think that's just building back up that sort of list in your head of other things that are good to take now. Now that we don't have Superior Tactician and the all of those victory after victory and things like that.
Yeah, I don't know why I found it easier. I think it's almost like the way it's broken down at the moment, at least, is that there are a kind of core set of good score immediately still that you want to take, and then the others not so much. So I don't find there's that many to choose from. Whereas I used to find it agonising over trying to pick which ones I wanted, because you couldn't take them all, you couldn't take too many,
Yep.
and then you also had the problem of quite a lot of them needed to be supported with some cards. Shortcut in a classic example,
Yep.
and then you needed to make sure they were in the deck. So you had too many, you couldn't, like, change of tactics. Didn't like playing if I didn't have a card that could put them on. Put somebody
Guard
on
instantly,
guard
things
in
like
the
that,
deck, that kind of thing. And like, I like the fact that that's kind of gone. And I think I just prefer making decks. I don't think I liked making decks that supported the score immediately meta. Therefore, I enjoy deck building more as a result, because I'm kind of looking at being a bit more thoughtful in the game. I think that's why I prefer it.
Yep. I can definitely see that aspect of it. I think as more cards come out in this season, we'll probably, in fact, there might already now be a glut of what look like really nice cards to take, like the hold 2 objectives and take someone out of action, or hold an objective if you're half an objective and they're half, and all of those kind of things.
I don't think the first one of those is score immediately, but I might be wrong.
No, I think that one isn't it. But I just mean in general, the number of cards that are going to start coming out, like, get 4 glory if you're holding 3 objectives for 2 at the end of 2 rounds, which is pretty tasty for a lot of warbands. Or the one where you get, I can't remember if it's 3 glory, where if everybody's holding, if all the objectives are being held, that could be really handy if you've got the ability to destroy some objectives with spells and that kind of thing as well.
Yeah, I think that kind of dovetails into Andrew's question about that he posted on the Patreon creator page today, about is there any point in taking single glory end phase cards, which is a really interesting question, and I kind of can see where he's coming from. And he states that fired up is worth having, but other than that, they're probably not. And I kind of agree with him.
Isn't fired up one of the limited ones as well? One of the restricted
it's
as well.
Restricted,
So,
but I mean, but it's so easy to score that it is almost worth having in. I feel that he's kind of right that I've lost the will to word. I think he's kind of right that actually one, because most score immediately are worth 1. Taking a 1 glory point end phase card almost feels like it's not worth it. You almost feel like, because you can only score at the end phase, you almost want to make them worth 2. And there's quite a few more now in the game. So there is that one that you just talked about, which is if you've got 4, if you've managed to be in supremacy twice almost.
Yeah, that one. And I do find that, as Andrew's pointed out as well, that the end phase cards need a bit more synergy with your ploys. You need to, if you're going for objectives, you need to make sure you've got some cards in there to move people around and stuff like that. And it just means you've got to think a bit more.
That
whereas
is true.
Surge cards will just take as many offensive cards as you can and just plough through.
Sure, though that contradicts slightly what I was saying earlier, because I was saying I needed to find, if you want to take a shortcut, you need to have
True.
So, but I think they're it's in a more interesting way. In the other ones, it's more like I need to have X card and Y card in my hand at the same time. If that happens, I will score the glory. Where now it's kind of like, well, it's kind of as a threefold thing, because you've got to have the push ploys, the objective card, and the figures in the right place. So you've got it's like a triangle rather than just if I've got X and Y, then I score.
True. But I do find that with some of those now, if you've got multiple cards that are jump on objectives, you're nearly always going to have one or two of them around when you've got some of your movement cards as well. So you're taking more. Whereas before, like with shortcut or change of tactics, you had one card, one objective, and one ploy card that went together, which limited your options. Now you might have 3 or 4 grab objective-y type cards and 3 or 4 movement-y kind of cards. So you've got a lot more chance of those all coming out together. So it makes the deck more. Just feels like the deck sort of melds together a bit more in some ways. Whereas before it was just a case of I'm going to take all of these because they're all damaging ploys of some kind, and therefore I'm just going to use them somehow. Yeah,
it almost didn't matter what was in the deck as long as it supported smashing things.
Exactly.
And Zach said, "Do you find your guys have changed the way you? We've changed the way we played thanks to Beastgrave, or the new conditions of Beastgrave, which again ties into this. I would definitely say I have, partly because I really want to explore this score immediately meta. And there's a couple of games we've played that you haven't seen yet. I'm not necessarily sure I made the best decisions, but it's just really interesting to try new things out, and I feel like there's more interesting ways to play the game now than there was, and I'll keep trying and seeing what happens."
Hello, Malachi. Hopefully I got that right. We did answer your question right at the start, so you'll be able to watch the beginning of this and catch up on that. I'm not sure if we answered your question, but we chatted about painting for a while, so hopefully.
So if we didn't answer it, you can ask it again. We'll try again next week.
Exactly. Maybe we'll get it the second time round. I do find that the game has changed the way we play in that we're slower. We're definitely slower.
I think it dovetails into another question that Andrew asked, isn't it?
Yeah. Which was, are we finding the games are taking longer? And at the moment they are. I wonder if that is just because we don't know the cards so much right now.
I think so, but there is more thinking involved. Like, because, for example, change of tactics is literally put on guard, charge. Whereas there's quite a lot of thinking about where you're going to position your models, which ploys to use to push them down. I think it does take longer. So
there's also, especially for us right now, and this wouldn't apply in tournaments, because he was asking about would 90 minutes in a tournament setting be enough. I think quite often it would, because you're going to go 2-0. Usually in the games, I don't think there were that many 2-1 instances there aren't that many 2-1 instances in the Grand Clash. I do find
I'm not sure about that. I don't know about. I'm not very tournamenty, so I don't know. I kind of feel like it isn't enough. I feel like the game. I don't know how to. I don't know how to make it fair, but I feel like it would be better to say you're going to play 2 games in 90 minutes and score the total glory. I don't necessarily know if that then folds out to be fair across the tournament.
You can do a best of 2 in that you can just do you play 2 games, and if you have a draw at the end of it, it's just the highest glory difference wins.
Yeah, and there must be a reason why that isn't done. But I feel like it would be better to do it that way. But I don't know enough about tournaments to know why it isn't done that way.
Maybe there is no real reason. It's just they like that format, best of 3.
Maybe
it just seems like the fairest format anyway. Best of 3. Maybe it's I can't think of a reason actually. Do put a comment if you can think of a reason why best of 3 is better than best of 2 inherently.
I don't think. I know Wigglehammer isn't here tonight. I don't think he's a tournament guy.
We need a Wigglehammer.
Probably he'd say, "Well, this is why," and there must be reasons. But I just feel like actually, like you say, a lot of games end up 2-0 anyway, and if it's 1-1, excuse me, if it's 1-1, you've got the glory of differential to sort it out.
Yeah, there is that. Yeah.
So I'm not sure, but and then that would give me 45 minutes to play each game, and actually it would be a nicer experience for me and my opponent. I think because we could.
Saying that though, I mean, when we went to the Grand Clash, we were terrified that 90 minutes would not be enough, and I don't think either of us really had that much of a problem throughout the whole Grand Clash in any of our games. So,
well, no, but I was shit at the Grand Clash, so that could have been the time to do with it.
if you lose really quickly, then it's really
Yeah.
easy to do it in 90
Well,
minutes.
exactly, yeah, but also I was so worried about making sure I got the games done in time. I don't think I put enough thought into how I wanted to play. So I think that. So there we go.
There are a few questions that have popped up during that. Justin Ellerby asked, do you think they will introduce the hazard deck like in Dreadfane? They said he really enjoyed the battle rep. I'm not sure if he meant the Dreadfane battle rep or the one we were talking about at the time, but I'm guessing so. I don't think they will introduce the hazard cards, at least into competitive
play.
Yeah, almost definitely not competitive.
I'm interested to know what you enjoyed about the battle rep, because I don't particularly like the hazard cards, but maybe it makes for more entertaining viewing because there's more stuff going on.
I didn't mind them. But they were quite random.
For me, it's just another thing to forget.
Well, there is that. Quite often, though, thankfully, most of the hazard cards are just do this thing now, roll for all these people, apply this effect.
Don't think, for me, they didn't add anything to the game. They didn't make the game better. They didn't particularly make it worse, but they didn't make it better.
Might have made it, like you say, it might have just made it more entertaining for people to watch.
Well, possibly. Yeah, that's kind of why I was asking what it was that he enjoyed about it over a standard game of Underworlds.
Yeah. Do let us know, Justin, what you think of that one. Maliki said that he enjoys objective play more. It just feels you get a better feeling when you pull it off. I kind of agree with that. I feel
absolutely.
If you get to an end of a round and you score all three of your objectives because you've managed to switch people around, or you do the alternative and you manage to stuff your opponent over by stopping them getting on those objectives, you know you robbed them of like 5 glory or something. There's always something quite nice that.
The game is back to that time when I know it was a bit OP, but when your opponent played Great Concussion and you managed to get back on the objectives.
Yes.
which was about the best feeling in the game in the world ever when you wait for the last turn. Now comes Great Concussion.
I'll never forget that poxy game where I managed to get your dwarves off of the objectives and then you used all of your ploys at the end of the round and got every fecker back on an objective again.
But that's probably my best moment of all the games we played. That's probably the thing I enjoyed most of all of them.
Yes, and it is much more enjoyable to get that kind of thing. Oh, Anonymous Jeff says he has to go. Family's ill. Hello, Jeff. Goodbye, Jeff. Thanks for turning up for a minute, and hope all is well at home.
Yeah. So, but apparently his deck sucked because he posted a deck somewhere on the. I think it was on our Patreon Discord.
You deck sucker.
And thank you, Pete. And what have we talked about? And
don't use your words.
So I'm glad I didn't need to know that. Didn't try it out because it sucks apparently.
Okay. So we'll run through some more of the comments. Red Rose Wargaming have asked, more importantly, have we picked a replacement for Ready for Action? Not yet.
Yeah, we were going to hold auditions. We kind of got swept up in the way of in the whole beastgrave thing.
Need to see what more cards are coming out yet for that. I think. See what else we got around.
Really, kind of sings to us.
So we're going to literally, yeah. We were going to try and maybe replace it with Ready for Faction for a while for the faction games. I'm not sure if that one's going to catch on though.
No.
Andrew says he would argue that objective play, he argues, would put this game above other board games. Maybe that I think it definitely adds a bit more thought to the whole process. You can't just charge with every single person.
Certainly puts it above other Games Workshop games.
yeah, but there aren't many GW games like this, really.
Well, there aren't, and this one's better.
This one's better than all the other games that don't exist. So there is that.
No, I mean, Games Workshop games. They have other games.
They do. They do.
This is better than 40k and AOS and Warcry, in my opinion.
Yeah. Let us know, everybody watching right now, and anybody watching this later on. Put a comment below. Do you Age of Sigmar? Do you 40k? Do you prefer this to those games, or have you picked this up or Warcry because they are just easier, better to play, that you prefer them, that they're just quicker, that kind of thing? Let us know your preferences below.
I mean, the speed of setup and speed of play is my biggest draw for this game, I think. But I'd also be interested to know how many people have come from a card background, Magic the Gathering and games like that.
Yeah, because the models, whilst they are nice, you could have tokens really. So yeah. And Christopher says that he loves the battle reports, camera angles we set up, make it easier to follow what is going on. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. To why we do this kind of stuff. We always try and make sure that we make these games as accessible to the person who's just picked up the game as the person who's won 60 shade glass trophies and just wants to sit there and laugh at our stupid mistakes and our terrible tactics. Although we prefer the people who just pick the game up, who think we're great and don't realise how bad we are. Edward mentions about Middle Earth, and I've never played a game of Middle Earth, and I don't know what it's like. I don't know if it's like AOS or what, really. So
No, I've not played it. I'd quite like to, but it's just another. It's just too much. There's too much buy-in.
yeah. Plus,
Yeah.
it would just be we'd have to get everything because they'd release a new thing. But oh my god, it's Gimli again! The 13th version of it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you'd want it. You'd want it every time. Another question that Andrew asked. We've just got a flood of messages about the 40k AOS thing, so I have to come back to them in a moment. What have I done? So quickly before we dive into those ones, Andrew also asked us, would we be willing to go to another Grand Clash in the future? What do you think, Robin?
I think yes.
Yeah.
I would be willing to. We have talked about going to the one in January, but I have some stuff going on, which means I might not be able to go. But I'm hoping we'll get there.
Yes, we would very much like to go to the January Grand Clash.
Yeah.
The question I suppose I wonder is whether we try and go to the January one with the potential that we might have to call off anyway because of other problems. And weather as well. Weather's always a big thing in January. You can screw up. And I know there's people in other countries that get like 60 feet of snow every morning. They're like, what the hell are you guys on about? You had like 2 inches. But that's enough.
But basically, if it's icy on my road, we can't get out.
You see, I could probably get out, but the problem is I'd get onto the motorways and there would just be a sea of broken down cars. And you couldn't get there even if you could drive through like a snowdrift. You wouldn't be able to get there because of all the other cars that have broken down before you. So I wonder whether we try and go for the January one, or there's usually one in like March or April time. Whether we try for that one when it'll just be rain. We just have to put up with the rain aspect. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. Who knows?
I would like to go.
I quite like January because it's kind of like you got January and the other one was in the summer, wasn't it? So you've kind of got 6 months roughly between them.
Plus,
there's a few people shouting out for Middle Earth in these comments.
Plus, January just January sucks.
Me in that direction.
January sucks as a month overall.
Yeah, well, that's a good reason to go to the Grand Clash because that's something to look forward to.
There is that aspect. So anyway, the comments. Yeah. Middle Earth, I literally have just rewatched, and this is probably, some people are going to have a very mixed opinion of this. I just rewatched all of the Lord of the Rings trilogy whilst I was painting my Grim Watch and some other things.
Okay.
I just had it on in the background. They lose, turns out. Yeah.
Okay. Goodness.
I think I might have been watching the wrong film, but
I lost the will to live in The Hobbit. Is that the same thing?
Well, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't. I watched The Hobbit, but I didn't really like The Hobbit as much. But I like Lord of the Rings films. They've always had a nice soft spot in my heart. And I know that the models aren't quite based on the films, but they are kind of a little bit. They've taken a lot of the visuals from that. So yeah. I would definitely
love to have the time to play Middle Earth. I would absolutely love to and paint them, and I would love it. Similarly, I don't know if anybody's watching, nobody's mentioned it yet, Legion, Star Wars Legion, I would love, again, to have enough time to buy and play and paint. I keep buying the miniatures. I've got a little stack of miniatures I'm never going to get to paint of Star Wars Legion, because I just really want to play it, and because I do, because it's Star Wars and I love Star Wars.
We did play a game, an intro game of that, and I quite liked it because it was different from 40k.
Definitely.
In that you had that I go, you go aspect. Well, it wasn't an I go, you go aspect. I always get these mixed up. It was a we go aspect rather than an I go, you go. So it meant that you did one thing, but that wasn't it. You had to now wait for your opponent to do something, and then you got to react to that. So I quite like that.
Yeah, I really like the system. I'm still in the Star Wars Legion forum on Facebook, and the conversations that go on in there don't particularly float me towards the game, but I think it tends to be more competitive focused, and I think again, if we were playing, we'd just take a what is fun, what we like, rule of cool type list. So it probably wouldn't be an issue for us unless the games are one-sided. But apart from that,
lots of people playing lots of different systems, Warcry and Beastgrave a lot, obviously, which are fast. A bit of a mention of Blood Bowl as well, 40k and AOS. Everyone's playing everything. Nice one.
Yeah.
Baz Carter, in amongst the Avalanche, sorry Baz, you got a bit buried in that, asked, have we covered the Ghoul Call keep them guessing debacle? I think we kind of decided it probably counts at the minute until GW says it doesn't, because you could pretty much read it either way, and after a point, once everybody's given their opinion, what it comes down to is a lot of people have just said what they think, and that's, you know,
like most arguments.
yeah, pretty much exactly
about these things.
Especially about games when there's literally a guy over there who wrote the rules, who can actually say, yeah, no, it doesn't, or yes, it obviously does. So I think
my feeling is, we haven't discussed it really, have we? But my feeling is, Pete, that we would, I would say, if you haven't got somebody to bring back, you can't. It wouldn't count towards keep them guessing.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I just think it's the nicer way to play it.
Yes, exactly. It kind of just makes sense that if you can't call someone back, you can't do the thing that calls someone back because you haven't got anyone. No,
I kind of feel with these games, if as soon as you say, "Oh well, rules is written, I can do it," it kind of means that you know you can't. Do you know what I mean?
If you says technically,
as soon as you find yourself saying that, as soon as you find yourself saying that, that's probably time to stop and say, "Okay, I'm trying to get an advantage here." Now, I appreciate that's not always the case, but and often Games Workshop will turn around and then rule it in a completely other. I felt exactly the same about the martyred calculated risk thing. Yeah. And I just, as soon as somebody said, well, it doesn't say it's the second movement, it's all right, I could do that, and they could die, it's fine. And I thought, well, that's just, you have to be an idiot to think that, and to keep going on about it makes you an idiot. But actually, I was wrong, so I'm the idiot. So
it was one of those things where you sit and go, well, if I think about it, I really do believe that it can't not be this way round. And then GW go, no, it's definitely the other way. And you just think, well, I guess I better just shut up then. I guess. What do I know?
But that is pretty much, we have called it pretty much 100% wrong, haven't we?
We've not got many right, and there have been some really big ones where they've released it and we've gone, really? They're doing that? Really? Wow.
Yeah. A few people playing Aeronautica. We toyed with the idea of playing Aeronautica, but then just thought it's too much other game to get into.
I'm glad we didn't now, knowing about what the rules are, what the box and everything is like. Yeah. I'm glad we didn't.
Red Rose are enjoying it. Somebody said, I think some of Red Rose said they've got a few people playing it, enjoying it.
Game. It just annoyed me when I found out that if you buy the starter box, you don't actually have the game at all. Really, you've got like an intro version of the game, but then you have to go out and buy a new board, a new book, new models.
Right. Got absolutely panned in Tabletop Gaming Magazine. They really didn't like it. And they're normally pretty pro GW stuff. They enjoyed Kill Team and Warcry and AOS and Underworlds, but they were pretty rude about.
They were almost expletively rude about it. I wonder if it's because GW broke from their normal structure with that and released a game that you couldn't just buy bits for. You had to almost buy the whole game again in separate components to be able to play it properly.
Possibly. Matthias Rapp here. I think he's a Games Workshop mole. You can have a good time with very small armies / warbands and Middle Earth.
Leave him alone.
Strategy battle.
Leave him alone.
Yeah, it's just oh look at you. You don't need very much. Just a little bit. Next year we send him here. Just have one model. See how you find that.
Just a little, just a taster, a little snifter, just a little bit.
The rest are 11 gazillion pounds and 50
exactly. Yeah, he doesn't need any kind of encouragement, guys. Okay.
I don't.
It just.
I don't.
If we won the lottery, like a serious chunk of money on the lottery, then we would just have everything going at once. We'd have every single game going. We'd literally have like a room which would have the Middle Earth set up. We'd have a room for the Aeronautica set up, another room for Underworlds, and we'd try and play them all almost simultaneously. That would be my ideal life.
Yeah, really. That would be great. Wouldn't it just go from one to the other? Which turn am I playing? Which game am I playing?
That would be the only problem. Is you'd just be sitting there going, "Oh crap! What do I do?" And this is an interesting thing I found with it's a bit of an offshoot, sorry, but mini wargaming, they get lambasted sometimes for people say they don't know the rules, they're rubbish, they suck, they always get rules wrong. Like they play 40k and AOS and all these other systems, and they play different armies, not just warbands, but whole armies. I mean, we have trouble just keeping track of just half of the warbands each. So I don't even know what it's like for those guys trying to do that. I mean, that really almost must take all the fun out of the game and just make it a job.
Yeah. We're looking at our comments now. Matthias and Edward are teaming up to push this on me.
It's also going, you only need 5 seconds. Stop it. All of you stop it. Or you're all going to be kicked from Patreon. I'm not going to let anyone know in. That's not true. Not true at all. But you'll get severe glares. Leave them alone.
Yeah. Andrew's making terrible jokes about Aeronautica not taking off.
Hey!
It's a good one.
Those are the kind of jokes we need on this channel.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you in the southeast? Do you want? We could do some extra bodies on the channel. Terrible jokes.
No, Andrew's not. He's from up north somewhere.
Yes.
all here. I felt like I saw another comment I wanted to comment on. Oh yes, this is what I want to get put on a T-shirt. See Muley's comment. Sometimes wording is an arsehole and intention is the good spirit.
Yes.
I think that's a fantastic quote. I think we should get that made on coasters.
Get that tattooed.
And yeah, I don't know that. I won't go that far.
I noticed that somebody tweeted the other day. I can't remember who it was. It might have been the guys over at Red Rose Wargaming. That somebody really had a go about one of your videos, a Warcry video.
It was Red Rose.
They really had a go. They didn't quite get as far as saying, but they basically said you're shit, and you should have done this, and you could have won the game. It's like, it's not always about winning the game though. Especially if you're recording it for a YouTube channel, you just want to have fun and do something entertaining.
Yeah. If you run off in the right, it was just about you should have just run off with it.
You could have
straight
done this
away.
thing and you could have
It would have been that cool.
It's like, even at a tournament, even at the Grand Clash, I would sacrifice winning a game at all costs over having a fun game. I would, if I find I'm playing a game, especially a GW game, I haven't got the time to take it too seriously. I'd rather have fun every time I play and lose every game, which I was getting quite used to in Nightfall, than the alternative of which is win every game and just pound my opposition and sit there going, I win because it doesn't say I can't in the rules.
Yeah, we've got some people saying War of the Ring is good too. Yeah, I've heard that. I think it might have been Jason. I think has tried to lure me into War of the Ring as well in the past.
Stop trying to tempt Robin into other games.
Yeah, I don't really need much temptation. And Christmas is coming, so anything Lord of the Rings related. So yeah, Red Rose says you're spot on, Pete.
Yeah, it's and that's what this channel's about. We are never going to be the extreme vocal voice. We're not going to be those guys who you see on some channels who are sitting there screaming venomous, bloody bile over GW changing something in the rules and putting female Space Marines in or something like that. We're never going to be those guys.
Oh, hang on, let's not.
Just fucking shut up a minute, man.
Yeah.
We're never going to be those guys who are going to be that full of venom and bile because we're too old for that shit. We just want to have a fun game. Let's just have some fun, guys, and enjoy ourselves.
Absolutely, especially Warcry. Warcry is deliberately built to be kind of slightly unbalanced. Okay, yes, you could give the guy who moves 30 or whatever the thing and run off with it, but what's the point of doing that?
Yes, in fact,
you might not bother turning up. There's no point setting up and playing if you're going to do that.
I mean, when I played a couple of games the other weekend with some guys, I really noticed straight away that not all the time, but a large portion of the time, depending on how things come out, you are probably either the winner or the loser. Quite often. You're either going to win the game by a country mile or you're going to get pounded, and you just very often, it's not very often anyway so far from my experience, that you've got a chance of pulling it back. There's sometimes a little chance, but it's generally not always a big chance, and I think Warcry helps you realise that you're just going to play the game and have fun with it a little bit. Just play the game and have fun.
Andrew Barlow says, Eyes of the Nine pure magic deck was fun, Robin? I would say it was Schrodinger's fun. So while you didn't know, it was fun and it was not fun at the same time. While you didn't know, it could have been fun. Then when you started playing it, you realised it wasn't. But I enjoyed the challenge of doing it, and I think the games were fun to play and they were fun to watch. So I think it was fun. It was fun, even though I did want to pull my hair out when playing it.
Yes, and sometimes you can play the game and you can have great fun and lose terribly. And other times we play games where one person has obviously won and smashed the other person to pieces, and it's not fun at all. Because you're like, I literally can't do anything wrong here because I can't not roll crits or whatever else it is, or my cards are just all coming out in the perfect order. And it's just no fun. I don't like that. And yet Red Rose said that Uncle Adam made a good video about a similar topic recently, and I think it's important to get that back into the game, because I think in life in general people are taking stuff too seriously, and I can see why people might do that when money's on the line. Obviously, if you're a poker player and you're like, you're in a tournament for millions of dollars or something like that, then you're going to be pretty serious about this. Most of the time, we're all playing little plastic soldier.
Actually, that reminds me, you owe me $450,000.
Yeah, well,
I knew there was something.
I spent it on cocaine, so I've got to get this video done. Drop something.
You've dropped something. What you done? Oh, Pete, bye, come back home.
That's right.
Tom from Evrose says if he didn't play for fun, my poor dad would never win. I love people who play with their dad. My dad was always too busy to play with me, and but I played with my sons this week. I played Wildlands. I had 2 games with my sons. One two player, one 3-player game, and I lost them both. So
it's a young man's game.
Yeah, absolutely it is. But we are going to play. I don't know if anybody's played Wildlands. It's an Osprey game created by Martin Wallace. We are going to play it this week with our friend Stu, who's coming into the garage, and we're going to play it tomorrow.
We realised whilst Beastgrave is obviously taken off massively at the minute, everyone wants to see it. We figured we'd record something else.
Yeah. Well, Stu's had a bit of a hard time recently, so we thought we'd invite him to the garage and have some games and a bit of fun. So hopefully you'll enjoy that. I've been wanting to bring Wildlands to the game since I bought it about a year ago. Hopefully it'll be good. It's similar to Shadespire, but it has no dice, Pete, so I thought you ought to enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the idea of no dice. That does appeal to me. And Robin, don't look in the Discord, the Patreon Discord. Don't look at what Ed's posted in there. Don't look at it. Don't do it.
VJ's posted something.
No, Ed has.
And Ed as well. Okay. Oh, I see.
Oh, VJ might have done as well. Sorry.
VJ says
Ed's
he has
posted
too.
something in one channel. He's posted it in the members only channel.
Ooh.
Oh, and VJ's just done a beast grave, but I can still see the G. It's beast rave. It's a beastman with a glow stick, but you need to get rid of the G.
You need to tilt glow stick so it covers the R. Somehow, I don't know if you could do that, but anyway.
So what other questions have we got? We've got a few more, I think, in here.
We've got about 10 minutes left.
Oh my god!
I know. It's amazing how we can talk.
We need to start earlier somehow, and then we can talk for longer. I reckon we could talk all day, and I think people might still. Some of these crazy, beautiful people would still listen to us. Do we think that the season 2 warbands are a fit? Oh, have we done that one? Have the ones before? Sorry, reading them. I need a teleprompter. I also need a personal assistant. Do we think that the online version of Shadespire will be appealing to players, or will it be left behind by the new season? I think it will attract a different crowd of players.
Yeah, I've kind of flip-flopped on this. I think when I first heard it, the Shadespire card is going to be rotated out, I thought, oh, that's a bit of a shame. Nobody will want to play it. But then afterwards, I thought, actually, I think in some ways, make it its own complete separate entity, and I think that might be better for it.
Yeah.
So I think it will, but I also think I agree. It will have different. It will bring in different people who don't play tabletop games but are happy to play strategy games online or whatever.
There might be a bleed. There might be a bleed through. I mean, there'll definitely be some people who play Underworlds who will also play the online version, and there'll be some people who play the online version who will then pick up Underworlds or Beastgrave, whatever version it is. But I do think that they will mostly be appealing to very different groups of people. I think some people were hoping that they could possibly be able to play the same game online, to be able to get tournament or league games in that they couldn't necessarily otherwise get in.
Yes.
That kind of thing. And I don't think it'll be a broadsword. I have contemplated sometimes whether it was ever worth us doing like a just a agent's play, and because I've got Space Crusade under the bed, I'm trying to find a copy of Hero Quest, that kind of thing. But I think people probably want to see more Underworld stuff.
I think so. I think so. It's very niche.
If we were doing a different game every day, if we had that,
we could get the bardic beard or whatever he's called on to do awesome. Then I think but I suspect he probably doesn't need the likes of us.
Probably not. He's got like millions and millions of hits in those videos. I'm sure we don't even register in his world.
No.
Play it live. Play it live, possibly. The one thing we are thinking of doing is when we get up to our $350 level on Patreon, which we're getting very close to now. We've got 55 people on Patreon, and we're not getting far away from that.
Thank you, all 55 of you are lovely.
Every one of you is beautiful, and everybody who used to be a patron and who isn't anymore, we still love you.
But not as quite as much. It's a bit like that whole kind of ex-girlfriend thing. There's still part of you, but
you still have a place in our heart. But at the same time, we've moved on a little.
And we're going to burn your stuff if you don't take it home with you soon.
Not that we're bitter, but God damn you, Tracy. But one thing we're going to do when we hit that level is we're going to try and play a live game every month, and it might be a bit difficult to play Underworlds live because you have people putting in the chat, "Oh yeah, Robin should play Sidestep," and I'll be sitting there, "Oh, should he now?" When we get to a level, we'll be leaving the country.
Indeed.
Not sure we're going to be able to do that at that point.
I'm going to get some shelves for my wall when I've reached that level. So because I've got Pete's got some already, but I couldn't afford any, so that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, I feel like Andrew had an interesting question about cards, and I thought of a good one, so I want to answer that question. Pete, what was the question?
I don't know. I'm trying to read. I'm
Oh,
trying to skim read it, but I'm doing that
it
trouble.
was the hybrid card. He said,
Oh
if you could
yes,
invent your own hybrid card, what would it be? And I racked my brain, Andrew, just for you, and I came up with
he's
one.
got a good one actually.
So,
This is
so
good.
yeah, so Andrew wanted us to, if we could create a hybrid card, what would it
Just
be?
want to
And I
say,
reckon,
I love the idea of hybrid cards that GW have added. It really adds a nice
yeah,
extra
it
level of
does. No reason
options
to play
and
beastgrave.
makes best of
Yeah,
three games that a little bit more unpredictable again. But sorry, back to
yeah.
you,
I
Rob.
haven't worked out the maths of what the value should be, but basically, it'd be a card worth 2 glory probably. But if you score X number of, so it's a universal card, but if you score X number of faction specific objectives, or or use X number of faction specific power cards, then you get 2 glory.
Boom.
That's my hybrid card.
I like that. You could call it something like
Yeah.
flying the colours or something like that.
Yeah,
Or true to
what did I call
form.
it? True to
True
form.
to form.
True to
Yeah,
form. That's what I called it
I
when we were
think that'd be
chatting
quite a
about
cool one.
it. Yeah,
Really
yeah,
encourage that faction meta.
yeah.
I'm hoping that season 4. I'm hoping GW can see now what adding in these extra faction cards is doing for the game. I hope they really push that further in the next season because I just like having a lot more faction cards in the game, whereas most of the time they're just useless otherwise. So let's really encourage that. Maybe put some kind of fraction back into the game again.
Yeah. Wolf Crispy says, "Do you think the online version is going to bring players to the tabletop and up the quality of play?" Well, I hope not. It's bad enough trying to keep up now.
I think it'll probably bring some more people along. I definitely think there'll be some people who play it who will then go, "Oh, what is this game?" I mean, they might already know about GW from years ago, and they'll pick it up and go, "Oh, this actually seems quite cool. I might pick the game up." And there are some people out there who don't even know about GW who might see the game and
Yeah.
go, "Oh, what the hell is this? These little people. This is friggin' awesome. I love this."
I just do think there'll be some crossover. I think I don't know how many people play it seriously. Where maybe sort of game people pick up and then put down quite quickly, but
Possibly.
constantly roll over. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't play very many video games, so I don't really know what the crossover transition is like. Yeah.
Red Rose saying that factions reduces the amount of mirror decks, which I think is true. You definitely tend to see a lot of similar sort of decks, especially at tournaments and stuff like that. I mean, Robin and I, obviously, we only play each other, so we don't really see that quite so much. But you definitely see the same kinds of things popping up all over the place with 1 or 2 cards switched down. I think adding in more faction stuff, and we did it before the bar list came out. We added the faction fractions in, and it just gave a bit more flavour to the whole game.
Yeah. Edward said he'd like to see a set deck version with the sideboard of cards to switch in and out. That's an interesting idea. I don't know what I think of that. I would like a balanced faction. That'd be my ideal thing. It would be a balanced faction, so 8 faction boxes that were balanced each season, so you could just play them at a tournament. And that's kind of like, I think, better than everybody having a set deck. I think it's almost impossible to achieve. So, but even if you have a set deck, you've got to make sure that all the warbands are balanced. And I don't know on their own that they are. Certainly, some of them feel easier to play than the others. Grimwatch seems easier to do well with than, say, the Despoilers. I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think at the minute,
Is that your despoiling face or your Grimwatch face?
Words, my disappointed despoilery face.
I see.
Yeah, I definitely think despoilers lose out a bit more at the moment versus the Hunt or the Grimwatch right now. And that does lead into one of the other questions he asked, which is, do we think the Season 2 warbands are a fair match with Season 3 warbands? I still think
I have no idea.
Yeah, we haven't played. Don't think we haven't actually played any games yet with Night Vault versus them. We will be next week, but right now,
are we? What am I doing? I'm doing Eyes of the Nine, aren't I?
Eyes of the Nine versus the Grimwatch.
That's not really a very good test, though, because Eyes of the Nine weren't balanced compared with the rest of the
They sucked anyway.
Season 2 warband.
Dungeon Command, no dice. Got my attention there, Jason.
Yeah, I've not heard of Dungeon
Hello,
Command.
Pale Blue. Unfortunately, you've come in. We are about to sign off very soon, but you will be able to watch this whole thing from tomorrow. You'll be able to watch from the beginning. Do tune in next time. We start at 10 o'clock UK time.
Yeah, although we might move to Monday next week.
Yes.
Because Tuesday. Well, because Monday's much better for me than Tuesday next week. So yeah. So VJ's off. See you, VJ. Well, we're off too. Really, we've only got about 1 minute left. So it's a good time to go.
Yes. So thank you all for turning up tonight.
Oh, I hope he's all right, VJ. He's taking the little man to the docks. So I assume you mean your son rather than
just a very small man, just a midget. Go on, let's take you to the doctors. I don't want to go. I feel fine.
Heads off the bed. You always do it. Say something inappropriate in the last 2 minutes.
I didn't say anything inappropriate then. That's absolutely fine.
You did. You watch it back and you'll see.
I'll be looking at it tomorrow and going, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. Why did I say that?
Andrew, thank you for setting the questions. It makes life so much better from our point of view.
It really makes our lives easier. It's a bit like when they brought out.
You can hang the whole discussion of them. So
well, we only have to post a little. We only have to start one thing, and then people fire questions up, and we can sit there and answer those, and it just gives us. We could just. Yeah, that's true. The Orc Knob comment was a good half an hour or more ago. So
laugh.
So yeah, that is definitely true.
I'm not dead.
I don't want to go on the car. I'm not dead yet. Sunk. Good on I watched that recently too for no real reason other than I couldn't think of.
We've been watching Star Wars films in our family. We've watched we've watched episode 1 and episode 2 so far, and we're trying to watch them all before episode 9 comes out. So that's what we're.
Or has that already come out?
So
I'm just waiting for it to come out.
It's coming. Yeah, it's coming out.
Pete
doesn't like Star Wars.
It's not that I don't like it. I'm just not that phased by it, and I'm definitely not a Trekkie either. So I'm a really rubbish nerd.
Yeah, well, I think you're. We're really digressing now, but I think you're of an age. You're slightly younger than me, and there was definitely a time when Star Wars didn't make any films. So when were you born?
I was born 1980.
80. So, but when Return of the Jedi came out, you were 3.
Yeah.
So by the time you were old enough to watch it, you couldn't watch it on video very easily. Then it wouldn't have been on telly very often. So you probably kind of missed it. Whereas I watched them when I was a kid.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So and it was definitely a time when watching Star Wars and reading the Lord of the Rings was incredibly uncool.
Yes, definitely through the 90s. If you were into a lot of that stuff, you were definitely targeted. So yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's probably why I was targeted.
But I mean, when Lord of the Rings the films came out in like the late 90s, was it, or was it the early 2000s, somewhere around then? That was just like, oh my God. I love this. This is my shit. I am all about this. And I remember going to watch all those in the cinema. I think I actually went to watch the third film with my mother-in-law because she wanted to see it and I wanted to see it, and neither my wife nor my father-in-law had any intention ever of sitting through 3 hours of that noise. So we went to the cinema.
Excellent. I saw it's bad, crazy digression there. I saw the second one, The Two Towers, in Bangkok on Christmas Day.
It's pretty random.
I was in Thailand, funny enough, and the cinemas were open Christmas Day, so I was on my own, so there wasn't much else to do. So off I went to.
That's when you left.
Two Towers.
That's where you left where we worked, because Rob and I used to work in the same company many years
ago.
That's where we met.
Yeah,
and we started.
Yeah, the film came out Christmas Day over there. So anyway, there we go.
Christmas Day in Thailand, not really that big a thing, I'm guessing.
No, yes, there was no snow either.
Yeah, strange that.
Okay, so we're probably now rambling like madmen. I don't think there are any more questions to answer, were there, Pete?
I'm surprised
Andrew?
there's still like 25 crazy people still listening to us talk absolute crap.
Yep.
No, I don't. I think we've covered nearly everything. There are a few more on there, Andrew, but I think we'll save them for next time because some of them are maybe a bit deeper again. So we'll be going deeper into the beastgrave next week. Hopefully Monday.
Oh yes. Hopefully Monday. Yeah, we'll post up 24 hours before all the various social things to say when it was going to be, but it will probably be Monday next week.
And just the last comment, Jason says there was a real I was into this before it was cool moment with the Lord of the Rings movies. Definitely. You're sort of sitting in there, sort of looking at the other people going, peasants. None of you appreciate what Boromir gave up here. None of you.
Yeah, you could tell those people were the people who didn't snort when the elves turned up at Helm's Deep. They know it's just they barely started. We're barely interested in it.
There was one bit where obviously at the end of the first film, what's his name dies. Scene Bean dies. And there were people literally sobbing behind me. Like, I can't believe he's dead. I'm like, have you even read the books? What is wrong with you?
Complete lack of Tom Bombadil.
Exactly.
Well, I think that's fair enough. A complete lack of Tom Bombadil.
Yeah.
I don't think he adds much.
I'm not sure.
To the narrative.
Yeah, I think if they'd have added that into the film, a lot of people would have probably been writing movie reviews going, what the crap was that bit in drug-infused frenzy in the middle there somewhere? So yeah.
That's true. I can forgive Arwen though, because it was Liv Tyler. It's easy to look past the fact that it's meant to be Glorfindel.
Yeah, I'm okay
think,
with that
yeah.
pick. I'm
Yeah.
okay with that
Yeah.
change. Oh my god, I can't believe they actually know I'm okay with this. Yeah. No, you keep doing whatever it is you're doing, Liv.
Yeah, and I can see that there aren't very many opportunities to bring female characters into it because the story is very much of its time.
Yeah, I think anything like that. I mean, if nothing else, it's just to increase the male to female, equal rights, all that kind of stuff. That's obviously why they did it. Nothing to do with.
That's what it was,
yeah,
Pete.
Obviously. And yeah, why are they surprised that Sean Bean died? He dies in everything, literally everything. Anyway, I think we've kind of hit a wall now. I think
we definitely are. Definitely, I think it's tanking. Are we still people actually still watching?
There's just as many as there were
just
before
talking
we
to
started
ourselves.
this nonsense. There's still 26 of those crazy, beautiful people out there.
Well, thank you, everybody. We will see you next week.
We'll see you next week. Hopefully on Monday. We'll post out a little reminder the day before. And as always, do post comments and questions. And if you're part of our Patreon group, and do post some questions in there. And if you're not, maybe go check it out. There's lots of little extras you might get.
Yeah, thanks to everybody who joined after last week's chat.
Yes,
that was really great.
Awesome. We finished the evening on that one on a massive high. We were like, we can do this. So thank you very much, guys. We shall see you all next week, and I hope you've enjoyed the show. Bye.